Okay, welcome to podcast number 1, tentatively titled Thoughts on a Bike. I cycle a lot. I just took up cycling about 2.5 years ago when I got here to Korea, and just kept going farther and farther. I have a background in running, and you'll find all about it in further episodes, but I really like biking now, and I've always had this idea, because I have such great thoughts when I'm riding, why don't I make a podcast and share all the shit that comes out of my head and see if we both can grow with it and connect, and just depends on the audience, you know. The lady's thinking, what's this guy doing talking to himself on a bike? Ah, yeah, it's a crazy world. People talk to themselves on the bike. I'm heading out of Mokpo on my one of my usual routes. There's 3 ways I can go. Mokpo is really right on the west coast, the southwest tip of South Korea. Has amazing bike paths, so the most common way out is this path right here. I'm still kind of in the city, but the infrastructure for biking here is next to none, and fabulous. So even though it takes me 5 or so minutes to get out of the city, it's still pain-free. The other way is across this great big river I'm riding along. I take a bridge and then I go south into Haenam and out in the agricultural country. Beautiful highways and roads and some bike paths. And the other one's up north, and I go through the islands. Where I live, there's thousands and thousands of islands where people are working and doing their thing. So that's a bit about the ride. And the idea of the podcast is just to turn on the mic, not keep it that long, 8 to 10 minutes, choose a topic, and say something. And then turn everything off, and I get my workout in, which is, you know, anywhere from 2 hours to 20 hours. Today's topic, I think, something I just wrote about recently. And something everyone can relate to. It's like, what is nature? It's fall now. This is our first cooler day, 10 degrees. Nice and blustery. I'm zipping along on this nice bike. It's only $400. Cheap in the bike world, but I still think it's a huge piece of technology. The question is this bike part of nature? A natural thing? Or is it somehow outside of nature? One of the problems we have looking at nature is separating ourselves from it. Or we do too good a job separating ourselves from it. My own reasoning is that we're so consumed and we're so enveloped in this paradigm of mechanical materialism that, you know, we're like a fish that doesn't know about the water. But the water is everywhere, and that's nature, I think. I wrote about some of the writers, one film director, Werner Herzog, who I love, who believes that nature is really just this violent, chaotic thing with no harmony, no rhyme, no reason. Just the huzzah of battle and fecundity and everything to self-replication, procreation, and survival. The horror of Kurtz. I'm not convinced. I think it's also, nature is also that of the Impressionists and this beautiful place of order and of cooperation, of beauty, of peace. But we tend to just think of it either as one or the other. But it has all the parts. And, you know, the real kicker for me is that we all really, in our heart of hearts, want to be part of the natural world. But yet we're told our cities, our bike paths, our bikes, our motor cars, our planes, our trains and automobiles are all not part of nature. I would say they are. They're not a nice part of nature. And I think they do a lot of damage. But there's a lot in nature that does damage itself too. Think of, you know, all the natural events, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, earthquakes. This rupture could be human culture too. But I think we all would benefit more to see that we're all in the fabric of life, that we're not divorced and separate from the animals and the plants and the air and even the tiniest molecule. Consciousness is alive in everything, I think. Call me a panpsychist, but hell, that's my belief. I've become very skeptical of the scientific dogma. I'm a scientist at heart and believe evidence, but I also believe so much of the evidence we take for granted and that's true is really just marketing and well-packaged stuff. It's all about getting a paper written and a career and grant assignments, and that part of science we got to really be skeptical about. It's strange. I did some camping recently here in Korea, like everywhere where people have a little more distance between them and the savage realities of survival. They start going to the beach more. They start camping more. There becomes this longing to go back to nature. Hiking is huge here. But I was camping and the question really was right in my face there about nature. Are we nature? Are we not? You know, to go camping but yet have a big screen TV right outside your camper, which is basically a big diesel van with a generator. Microwave there too. Nice, sweet smelling pine trees. Water lapping at your feet. Yeah, you're back to nature, baby. Oh. When I was a kid, I had to draw water from a well and carry it home and empty the shit bucket. Wake up in the morning and wipe the frost off my blankets on the bed. I'm not kidding you. It was tough. Every night I was out there as a 8, 9, 10-year-old, pulling a sleigh, chopping at trees just to have enough wood to survive the night. I learned many lessons. And that cruel world built and created lots of cruelty too. The farmers were cruel. Life was short for animals and people too. We were really part of nature. Whatever tools and fancy things we had was still inside that envelope of nature. So I think it's a matter of degree. Yes, modern man has somehow created some separation, let's say. We're still part of nature, but there's still lots of that safety valve has created the illusion that we are above nature. And then all those goddamn commandments from all our religious leaders, you know, dominion over the earth, and thou shalt rule over the fowl and the fish and all that stuff. It's done a lot of damage, and it still does. We had a small little time when I was a teacher where I was really proud of the message and the actions that we were taking about our earth. But, you know, at the end of the day, I kind of go with David Suzuki, who on his way out from Mother Earth finally said he gave up, and he said it's too late. We're never going to change the wickedness in us, change the mentality. Krishnamurti, if I remembering my readings right, was always a man who said it's not the structure or the framework or the rules and the regulations and changing this and tweaking that and don't doing more of that. It's really a question of, can we change our human mentality, our mind? And yeah, it's hard to change the mothership of culture around. I spent 5 years studying anthropology, but always I'm studying anthropology. That bed was just something I was already laying in at the time when I was young. But Gertz would agree with me that, you know, culture has a momentum, and it's done over thousands of years, many civilizations dying, and that's how it changes. But it's getting harder to change too because there's less options. Our world is becoming a monoculture, not just biologically, but culturally, the cultural genome. When you think of, you know, what's his name? I'm thinking of for National Geographic. Wonderful man. He wrote about the Haitian, the Voodoos, and ethnopharmacologists. But Wade Davis. But same thing. He saw the dying of languages and dying of cultures as a tragedy, because it's the very soil that is us. It is nature too. It's not proto-nature or above nature or the cause of nature or after nature. It just is. It's the sustenance of life itself. So I've been going on, and I said this podcast is going to be short. So, what do you think about nature? What is it? What are we getting right? What are we getting wrong? I'll end with a stimulating quote always never really understood, and that's what a good quote sometimes does to you. But I understood instinctually that it had some truth. Voltaire said, "First be a good animal." What the hell does that mean? Okay, shore north wind. Gonna put my head down. Thoughts on a bike number 1. Down and not rusted. Over and out.